1971. A man boarded Northwest Orient Airline Flight 305 heading from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington, wearing a black suit, a clip-on tie, and carrying a briefcase. He sat in his seat. Seat 18E. During the flight, he slipped a note to a flight attendant who probably thought it was just another guy trying to hit on her. But that wasn't just any old note, and this wasn't just any ordinary man. The events that followed have left the FBI searching for answers and is still the only unsolved case of air piracy. So sit back, stow your tray tables, and put your parachutes on as we dive into the curious case of D.B. Cooper.
We're going squatching.
We're going squatching, bitches. Welcome back to Don't Touch My Sasquatch podcast. We're your hosts. I am Josh.
I continue to be Lennon.
Yeah.
One of the most famous unsolved cases in United States history is that of the hijacking by a mysterious man known as D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper has since become a legend portrayed in many forms of pop culture, all of which explained his story and fate. But no one knows the fate of the man that hijacked an airline in 1971, only the story that he left behind. Let's follow the order of events of that day from the beginning.
Let's do it.
On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, an ordinary, middle-aged white man in a suit carrying a briefcase strolled into Portland International Airport and purchased a one-way ticket to Seattle-Tacoma on Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305.
Loki Lofferson.
Yes.
Is that how you say his last name?
That's pretty sure.
That works.
This man identified himself as Dan Cooper and thus was printed on his ticket and the flight records. He boarded the Boeing 727 and sat in 18E, an aisle seat, ordered a bourbon and soda, and slipped on his infamous sunglasses. Aboard the plane were 36 passengers. The crew was comprised 36 passengers, not including the crew. The crew was comprised of pilot Captain William Scott, First Officer Bob Radasak.
Were they compromised or comprised?
Comprised.
Oh, I thought you said compromised. I'm sorry.
Might have. I meant comprised.
I'm like, they were compromised. Shit, we have them all.
They might have been. I'll get to
Possibly.
that in my theory.
Yeah.
Flight engineer H.E. Anderson and flight attendants Tina Mucklow and Florence Schaffner. I wrote Schaefer in the rest of my notes, but it's Schaffner.
Florence Pugh. Hi, Florence.
Bit young for you.
What are you talking about?
She's younger than me.
No, she's not.
Oh, she is.
No, she's not.
Okay. The plane.
There's a little scat we do.
Get a little music in there. Yeah. The plane departed on schedule at 4:35 p.m. and made its ascent. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to the flight attendant, Florence Schaffner. She slipped the note into her pocket, ignoring it, and continued doing her job. And like you had mentioned, it was common in this time for flight attendants to be hit on and given notes for phone numbers.
I'm sure it still is,
and
honestly.
Probably. So she just ignored it. And,
Of course.
Except
there's this man just staring at her.
He was kind of weird. The next time she walked by, Cooper motioned for her attention and brought her close, spoke softly to her, telling her she better read the note, and warned her that he had a bomb.
Bitch, read the note.
She hurried to the galley, where she and the other flight attendant read the note and quickly carried the news to the pilot, who immediately alerted air traffic control to the situation. From there, follow me, air traffic control called Seattle Police. Seattle Police called the FBI. And the FBI called airlines president Donald Nyrop. Sounds like a burp.
Oh, that's my burp.
I know. Nyrop told the FBI that they should comply with Cooper's demands to prevent a needless tragedy and most likely bad PR. Yeah. The note was asked to be given back by Cooper, but his demands were as follows. He wanted $200,000 in cash, delivered all in non-sequential $20 bills on arrival in Seattle.
Yeah.
He wanted 2 sets of parachutes, so that's 4 total.
Yes.
A fuel truck at the ready when they landed, and if his demands were not met, he would do the job.
Do it.
It was determined that the weight was the reasoning for the request in the bill size, because too large a bill would be less paper, if it was hundreds, and too smaller of a bill would be more weight for more paper.
For what, though?
For parachuting down.
Oh, so he needed a certain weight is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. So he calculated all that.
Yes. Too large a bill, too light, and package for descent is whatever. Yeah. The FBI made sure to give him non-sequential bills, but they sneakily gave him ones with a serial number beginning with L. Mm-hmm. His note warned against any quote-unquote funny business. He moved over to the window seat.
I want no funny business, you see?
You see? None of it. You heard? He moved over to the window seat and requested Schaffner to sit in the aisle seat next to him. He opened up his briefcase just wide enough for her to see the wires and red-colored sticks and motioned for her to go talk to the pilot and told him to circle the air until his demands were ready. The plane approached Seattle, and on the ground, the demands were being satisfied. Parachutes were acquired from a local skydiving school. He was given 2 sets of chutes, 2 front and 2 back. The FBI radioed to the pilot, who was now circling in the air above that they were ready. Side note, none of the passengers knew where this was all happening.
They were just told that there was a... Oh, are you going to talk about what they were told?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
they were just told something totally different.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay. The pilot blamed a mechanical issue for why they were circling and not landing. So the pilot... Nope.
Yeah, they said they had to fly around to empty some fuel so that there was less risk of ignition of the fuel from the electrical issue.
Gotcha.
That's what I read.
All right.
All right.
So the plane landed, and as Cooper requested, they taxied over to a well-lit remote area. He had the cabin lights dimmed low and requested that the courier to the plane come alone and that no vehicles should approach the plane. Don't you fucking do it.
No.
But one vehicle did. It was a company car from Northwest Orient Airlines.
Oh, they were going to give him a little VIP treatment. I couldn't think.
Inside was an employee for Northwest Airlines. Oh. He had the money in the chutes in hand.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cooper then demanded attendant Tina Mucklow to lower the stairs for the handoff. Once he had his money and he had his chutes in hand, he released everyone on board except for Tina Mucklow and the 3 men who occupied the cockpit.
The cake cockpit. The cake cockpit.
He denied the FAA officials' request to board the plane to warn him of the punishment and dangers of air piracy. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, can we just board the plane just to talk to you for a second?
I just want to let you know how dangerous what you're doing is.
That's no?
Okay.
We'll leave afterwards. I swear we won't do any funny business.
Yeah. So he denied his request, but what he couldn't deny was that the FAA official then spoke to the captain and had it read over the intercom to him. So he did have to listen.
Jesus Christ. You should turn this shit off. Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
It was good. He asked Tina Mucklow to explain to him the operation of the stairs to the jet, more specifically on how to open them during flight, which she said wasn't possible until he told her she was wrong.
Yeah, there's actually a manual, which is kind of weird to have, but, whatever. You think that they would just be trained how to do it, and they wouldn't have a manual on the plane, be like, hey, anybody could just go down there and find out.
Well, what happens if something happens to the flight attendants?
Fuck the flight attendant.
That's a hard work.
No, that's what he was trying to do.
That's probably what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, this was all just a ploy. They were in on it together.
That is the theory.
Which was Mucklow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
Mucklow and the 3 people in the cockpit.
Mm-hmm. As well as Barnabas Baines Cooper.
It's a great name.
Yeah,
I call him douchebag Cooper, but
douchebag.
Intelligent douchebag, but douchebag.
Yeah, so he told her she was wrong about it.
You're wrong!
So he somehow knows. He then requested the pilot to take him to Mexico City and that the plane would fly below 10,000 feet and no faster than 150 knots.
Yeah.
The pilot explained to Cooper that the plane could not sustain a trip for that far at that altitude and that speed without running out of fuel, even on its 52,000 gallons of fuel.
Yeah.
They agreed upon a refueling stop in Reno, Nevada. Now, Cooper knew that the Boeing 727 could be fueled at 4,000 gallons a minute 4,000 gallons a minute. So while they were at Seattle and they were fueling up, he was quick to yell at them about the delay because he knew how long this should be taking, but it was taking too long. So he got suspicious. So he yelled at them.
Oh, he's got a lot of knowledge in aviation.
Exactly. Exactly.
Didn't he also...
yeah.
Sorry. Didn't he also, in his requested demands to the pilot, request that the back stairwell be down when they took off, which the pilot said that's impossible and we can't take off like that?
I did not see that.
Oh.
I did not see that. Maybe. But I did not see it. Once again, he knows a lot about this plane. A route was planned out to Mexico City that met his flight demands. The route would take them west of the mountain ranges as he demanded, and also below 10,000 feet and slower than 150 knots. He also requested that the cabin be depressurized so that the cabin would be equalized with the outside when he drops the stairs to jump. The plane took off from Seattle at 7:46 p.m. He requested that Tina Mucklow and the three others remain in the cockpit for the duration of the trip. They were unaware of anything he did within the plane behind the cockpit door because it was a sealed door shut.
Right.
But around 8 p.m., an alarm went off in the cockpit warning of a door being open. The pilot asked over the intercom.
The cock asked over the intercom.
Say,
is everything all right back there?
That's what he said. And Cooper...
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I couldn't think of anything a cock would say. So
that's okay. That is what he said. He yelled, is there anything we can do? The pilot asked over the intercom if there was anything they could do, to which he angrily screamed, "No!
Get the fuck out of here. Stop talking to me."
That was the last anybody ever heard of him. At 8:24, the plane dipped slightly. The pilot assumed that this was due to the stairs being lowered.
Right.
He noted the location. They were 25 miles north of Portland, near the Lewis River. They remained silent in the cockpit for the duration of the flight in case he was still in the plane and they break the demand put upon them.
Right.
At 10:15, the plane arrived in Reno with the back staircase down. The pilot fished for a response over the intercom, which was met with silence. He was gone. All that remained of D.B. Cooper on Flight 305 was a clip-on tie and 2 unused parachutes. All that remains of D.B. Cooper in history is a clip-on tie.
Well, let's get into that, huh?
Yes.
So the initial response to the crime scene investigation. Upon landing in Reno, a Nevada State Journal reporter took advantage of a shortwave radio and captured the following conversation between the pilot and the radio tower. "We will be landing with the air stairs down. We have not communicated with our passenger." He then told them that they'd be landing the plane 8 p.m. straight up. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if straight up means like 8 p.m. on the dot or something. I don't know what straight up means.
I don't know either. It's also weird because it said it landed at 10:15 from what I read. But I also went to another website and it said something different. But most of what I got info was from the FBI's actual website.
Yeah, I got... This part wasn't from the FBI's website. So maybe it was 10, 15, 11.
It's as I don't know. There's always different stories.
Interesting, right?
Yes.
At that point, no one knew for sure if Cooper, as you said, was still on the plane or not. Joe Martin, who was a retired Washoe County Sheriff's deputy, said, "We all took up position. I was at the north end of the the runway. The plane went right over us and landed. That's when we found out he was gone." I'm guessing just because the stairwell was back, because seeing a plane landing, you can't tell if someone's on the fucking plane or not.
Right.
Oh, there's the plane. He's gone, isn't he?
Fuck, I knew it.
sense it. Like, what the hell? After the plane had landed, the plane radioed the tower, stating that the hijacker took leave of us somewhere between Reno and Seattle. What did you have them saying? When they radioed the tower? Oh, maybe you didn't have that. Anyways,
No.
The hijacker took leave of us somewhere between Reno and Seattle. Immediately following the plane landing, law enforcement agencies, including that of the FBI, did an extensive investigation of said plane. They used police dogs and searched the airport grounds, and a search was also launched in the nearby Reno neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Back on the plane, the FBI collected 66 latent fingerprints, not of D.B. Cooper, just 66 fingerprints.
Yep.
Cooper's black clip-on tie, a mother-of-pearl tie clip that was on the tie, 8 cigarette butts, and 2 of the 4 parachutes that Cooper demanded.
Mm-hmm.
After a thorough search of the plane, they then went on to interview eyewitnesses in Portland, Seattle, and Reno, and developed a series of composite sketches. 3 composite sketches to be exact. Let's start with composite sketch A. The first sketch that was made in November 28th of 1971, just a few days after the hijacking, it was officially titled Composite A, but jokingly, it is known as Bing Crosby.
Oh, okay.
This one is the one I see all the time, by the way.
Oh, sorry, then I know it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you know it. Like the skin. Well, let's get into it. According to the eyewitnesses, this sketch was not an accurate representation of D.B. Cooper's likeness. The sketch is of a young man with a narrow face and did not capture Cooper's disinterest or "let's get this over with" look.
Okay.
Flight attendant Florence Schaffner repeatedly told the FBI that this composite sketch was an extremely poor representation of what Cooper looked like.
Okay.
After multiple eyewitnesses saying that this sketch was not an accurate rendering, the FBI artist developed a second sketch known as Composite B. This sketch was completed in late 1972 and was intended to be a more accurate representation of Cooper's age, skin tone, and shape of his face. The eyewitnesses that the sketch was shown to... The eye sketches... Wow, I fucked that one up.
A little bit.
The eyewitnesses that the sketch was shown to said it was a more accurate representation, but it made him look too angry or too nasty, if you will. One flight attendant said she remembered Cooper as being more refined in appearance.
Okay.
And that it depicted a man older than Cooper with a lighter complexion. So, using that criticism, the FBI artist made the necessary adjustments and improvements to the sketch, and on January 2nd, 1973, the finalized revised Composite B sketch was completed. The feedback on this one from the flight attendant was that it was a very close resemblance to Cooper. Another flight attendant stated that the hijacker would be easily recognized from this sketch. Now, it didn't tell which flight attendant said which, but there was only 2 of them, right? That they talk about all the time. So
there was.
Now, when you're looking at those 3 sketches, which one do you remember most?
I always see the first one.
Me too. That's the most famous one. So it's the one that looks least like him, but it's the most famous one. It's interesting.
It's a big difference.
It really is.
Like it's just a completely different person.
If you look at composite sketch
the
A, all the way
world's smallest nose,
right, from A to the last one that they did, where it accurately represents him, it's just totally different to me.
Right,
which is crazy.
I agree.
Now, before we take an in-depth
cool shades though.
What's that?
It's cool shades though.
Right, they're kind of like Ray-Bans.
A little bit.
Maybe he was a time traveler. Now, before we're taking an in-depth look into the physical evidence that they found, let's talk about the parachutes that Cooper demanded. During the hijacking, Cooper demanded and received 4 parachutes. As you stated, 2 main chutes, which were back chutes, and 2 reserve chutes, which are front chutes. The front chutes usually clipped onto the back chutes and blah, blah, blah. But they didn't actually have the clips, they found out later. But that is irrelevant. I just thought I'd throw that in. The 2 reserve chutes came from a local skydiving school, and the 2 main chutes were supplied by a local pilot. The man who packed the 4 parachutes that were brought to Cooper, Earl Cossey, described the 2 main chutes as emergency bailout parachutes as opposed to sporting parachutes that skydivers would use. Cossey further described the main chutes as being like military parachutes because they were rigged to open immediately upon the ripcord being pulled and were incapable of being steered. So you just kind of went.
Yeah.
You didn't really have... But if he's a military guy, he would be used to that.
He would.
One of the reserve chutes that Cooper was given was an unusable training chute. It was only intended to be used in classroom demonstrations as it had a canopy inside that was sewn together so that skydiving students could get the feel of pulling a ripcord on a packed parachute without the canopy being deployed. So, one dummy chute. So, if he's a experienced parachutist, he'd be able to notice that. If he isn't, well, let's hope he doesn't use that one.
Yeah.
Now, during the initial investigation of the plane, the FBI found 4 major pieces of evidence. We've stated it over and over again. It's a clip-on tie, a mother-of-pearl tie clip that was on the tie, hair from Cooper's headrest and seat, and 8 filter-tipped Raleigh cigarette butts from the armrest ashtray. Now, let's take a look at what evidence the investigation of these items garnered. What's up?
Such a different time.
What? Oh, yeah, smoking on the plane?
Ashtrays in the armrest on the planes.
Right. Bombs being allowed to be on there. Jeez.
The cabin of those planes must have been just a fucking
smoke
hot
show.
box of cigarette smoke.
Jesus Christ, I'd die. I would die.
Horrible.
And yet a lot of them, well, they lived.
Yeah, they did.
So, let's go over the physical evidence, my friend.
All right.
The tie and the tie clip.
Yes.
Let's start with that. So, in the seat where Cooper was sitting, the FBI found a black necktie with a gold tie clip attached. That's the mother-of-pearl tie clip.
Yep.
Sold exclusively at JCPenney department stores, but was discontinued in 1968. The FBI were able to build a partial DNA profile from samples found on Cooper's tie back in 2001. Unfortunately, there's no evidence that linked Cooper to the source of the DNA samples. So, what are you going to do?
You get that sometimes.
Sometime, right? In 2009, a group of citizens known as the Cooper Research Team found, analyzed, and identified hundreds of organic and metallic particles on Cooper's tie. Using electron microscopy. Anyways, they identified lycopodium spores, the source of which was likely pharmaceutical. The team also found particles of metal and rare earth particles, suggesting that Cooper may have worked for Boeing or another aeronautical engineering firm, at a chemical manufacturing plant, or at a metal fabrication and production facility. I'm assuming they did this all from pictures, because I doubt the FBI is like, yeah, sure, here's a tie. Let's check it out.
They did.
They did, really?
They did allow them to have the test on a tie. I know a little bit about this. Yeah.
Okay.
They also determined, if I don't...
No, I'm done with this.
They also determined that...
I'm done with this. Sorry.
Which kind of makes sense.
What's up?
Because he had the tie on.
Yeah.
And he was in these plants and stuff. He was probably some kind of management level, because he was walking through there with a tie. If you were working on the stuff, you would have your suits on, the special suits that you would wear to do it.
Right.
Or the jumper.
Of course.
The one-piece suits,
Yeah.
So they determined that he was probably some kind of upper management or someone in charge of something, because he had a tie in the plant.
Well, isn't that a little interesting?
Yeah, I think
like he had knowledge of things.
Exactly.
Now we move on from the tie to the cigarette butts. They were located in the armrest ashtray of Cooper's seat 18E. FBI agents found 8 filter-tipped cigarette butts. They were sent to the FBI crime lab to search for fingerprints, but no fingerprints were found.
Well, because they smoked them all when they got them.
Right.
All the way
He did
down.
a good one. That was a good one.
That was good. Let's try another.
They were then sent back to the Vegas field office. You may ask, why didn't they try to extract DNA from these cigarette butts?
Hey, why didn't they try and extract DNA from these cigarette butts?
Good question. Let me answer that. That's because DNA fingerprinting wasn't used until 1986, when police in the UK used it to verify a suspect's confession that he was responsible for 2 rape murders.
What's that time out? What year was that?
1986.
They didn't start using fingerprints in cases until then?
DNA.
Oh,
DNA fingerprints. DNA. Like extracting DNA off of stuff.
Okay. I was gonna say, I feel like
not fingerprints.
I was gonna say, I feel like fingerprints were like
they
a
were
long
looking
time
for
ago.
fingerprints.
Okay.
They couldn't find them. Most likely what
Took me back.
most likely like used gloves or something. I have no clue what Cooper was wearing on his hands, but somehow he didn't leave fingerprints.
Probably was wearing gloves.
Makes sense. He is a smart man. Well, in 1998, the FBI wanted to try and see if they could extract DNA from the cigarette butts. Unfortunately, they were destroyed while in custody of the Vegas field office.
I told you, they fucking smoked them.
Smoke them if you got them.
They're like, there's a little bit left on this, guys.
Except I don't smoke. So
They're like a bum at a gas station.
Fucker. It's like people eating chicken wings. They leave so much on the bone.
Right.
They eat the whole thing.
Yeah, you eat the bone too. The waste not. It's my favorite.
Marrow's good.
That's very good.
We'll move on to the hair samples.
All right, please do.
So the FBI. The FBI. We turned a little different. The FBI also found 2 hair samples in Cooper's seat. CD18E. Joking. One was a single strand of limb hair that was found on the seat, and the other was a strand of brown Caucasian head hair that was found on the headrest.
Okay.
The limb hair was destroyed after the FBI crime lab determined that the sample lacked enough unique microscopic characteristics to be useful. Gone.
Limb hair.
Like arm or leg.
Okay, it took me a minute. I thought I was trying to figure out what the hell LIM hair was. I'm like,
limb.
The fuck's a limb? And I was like, oh, a limb. Got it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. That made sense.
I was trying to come up with something for that acronym, LIM, but nothing came. So, the head...
Lenin is male.
Lenin is moron. I'm kidding. The head hair was determined to be suitable for future comparison and preserved the hair on a microscope slide.
Okay.
They were thinking ahead here.
Yeah.
In 2002, during the attempts to build a DNA profile for Cooper, the FBI discovered that the head hair sample had been lost.
Wow. Great.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
That was awesome. Thanks, guys.
Good stuff. Great work.
Good work, guys. No more cigarette butts.
No wonder this hasn't been solved.
Fucking bunch of idiots doing this.
They just bumbled it every fucking step of the way.
Or did they? Was this all intentional?
No.
Did he work with them somehow?
I don't think so.
I don't either. Parachutes. After the plane had landed in Reno, the FBI discovered 2 of the 4 parachutes, as we discussed.
Yeah.
One of the reserve chutes and one of the main chutes.
Uh-huh.
So he took one of the reserve chutes, he'd take one of the main chutes.
Yeah.
To me, it was immediately like, okay, main chute he used to parachute down, and the reserved he probably stuffed with cash.
Sure.
That's what I was thinking. That's what they thought. The reserve chute had been opened. Spoiler, sorry. The reserve chute had been opened, and 3 shroud lines had been cut out. The main chute that was left behind was still fully intact. The main chute, that is. Uh-huh. Maybe he asked for the 2. This is my own note.
Okay.
My thought process while I was doing this. Maybe he asked for the 2 main parachutes to give the illusion that he may take one of the 4 crew members with him so that the FBI wouldn't tamper with one of the main chutes. This ensured that he had a working parachute, as they wouldn't want to risk a hostage using the faulty one and being killed.
And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
The FBI did have that thought process because of that. And yet he was still given a training chute, though? That's what I was confused by, though.
Yeah, the training chute, though, was one of the front ones. I don't think that's... that's what I'm confused about, the back and the front one, because the front one clips on to the back one. I'm confused about the fucking front chute.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But the training chute was the front chute, so I don't...
Somebody write us and tell us.
Please do, because I've never been skydiving, and I probably, pass out mid...
I will never go skydiving, as you know. That's probably not something I would like.
I want to just conquer the fear, but I know I'd probably get in that plane and... No!
Get me in the plane to start.
That's true. Oh, yeah. You don't like planes. Yeah. We're going to get used to them soon. So, the non-functioning reserve chute that would have been used in classroom demonstrations was one of the ones not found on the plane.
Okay.
This initially led the FBI to speculate that Cooper wasn't an experienced parachutist because someone that was would have noticed that it was a dummy chute.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe he was experienced and had another use for it. Earl Cossey remembered... Sorry. Remember the man who packed the parachutes, Earl Cossey?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he speculated that Cooper removed the sewn together canopy and used the empty reserve container as an extra money bag. This was supported by Tina Mucklow and her testifying that she recalled seeing Cooper attempting to pack money inside a parachute container. Speaking of the ransom money, was any of it found? Yes, but only $5,800 of it was found, and it was found buried in sand. On February 10th, 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram and his family were on vacation on the Columbia River at a beachfront about 9 miles downstream from Vancouver, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Brian was raking the sand riverbank in an attempt to build a fire. When he uncovered 3 packs of the ransom money.
Mm-hmm.
The money had disintegrated from its lengthy exposure to the elements, but they were still bound together in their rubber band.
Yeah.
The FBI's analysis of the money confirmed that it was indeed a portion of the ransom money Cooper had demanded. The serial codes matched.
Mm-hmm.
2 of the packets, they still had all $120 bills, but the third pack only had 90 of the $100 bill, or the $20 bills.
Mm-hmm.
Many speculated this was washed ashore and pointed to the bills being disintegrated in a rounded fashion and matted together. Although this doesn't explain the missing 10 $20 bills from the third pack, or the fact that the 3 packs remained together and after separating from the rest of the money. Also, the rubber band, if it was coming from the water and washed ashore, the rubber bands would have been disintegrated by that point in time.
Yeah. This is 9 years after.
Yes. 1980. So yeah, 19 years after. Sorry, 9 years after. Yeah. My bad. In 1974, a corps of engineers did a dredging operation on that part of the river. 1974. Geologist Leonard Palmer of Portland State University found 2 distinct layers of sand and sediment between clay deposited on the riverbank by the dredge and the sand and sediment where the bills were buried.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mouthful. Sorry.
It's all good.
2 different sands.
Beautiful.
This indicated that the money arrived on the beach long after the dredging had been completed.
Okay.
That's all the ransom money evidence.
Dope. But money made it to the ground somehow.
Made it to the ground, buried under the sand after 1974, which was
not all
3
of it,
years.
Though.
Exactly, just 3 packs.
Yeah.
I don't think I talk about it here. So there's a theory which we'll get into about the money and what possibly he did and why this was found in an attempt to dupe the FBI and all that. Anyways, but that's saying dredging is when they scrape shit on the bottom, right?
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure I had that right. So if some money was in the lake then, wouldn't it have been found then? Not lake, the river, sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know these things. Mm-hmm. But the FBI didn't just stop at wow, that's a lot of adjusting, Josh. The FBI didn't stop at just investigating the physical things they found on the plane. They also did an extensive land and air search operation in an attempt to locate D.B. Cooper immediately after the incident, or any of the items he jumped out of the plane with.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, defining a certain area to search was difficult due to the multiple variables and parameters. Mm-hmm. You have the jet's estimated airspeed that varied, and the environmental conditions along with the flight path varied with the aircraft's location and altitude.
Yeah, because they picked a destination, but didn't pick a course 100% certain that the ground had known. So it was going off captain's log and memory.
You just had to guess where it was.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that only Cooper would have known how long he was in free fall before pulling the ripcord, which would make a big difference on where he landed. The Air Force F-106 pilots never saw anyone jump from the plane, and radar never detected a deployed parachute. You have to remember that this was a man wearing a black outfit jumping into the moonless night.
In a storm.
There was limited visibility because of the cloud cover and a lack of any ground lights where he jumped.
Mm-hmm.
Make it very hard to visually confirm someone jumped out of a plane.
Also very hard for the jumper to land safely.
That too, yes. Especially, I think it was a forest area.
It was.
So it's even better. The T-33 pilots never made visual contact with the 727, so they just saw nothing at all. They didn't even get there. They were too slow. Hurry the fuck up. On the best day of the year, wrong year, just the best day, on December 6, 1971, FBI director at the time, J. Edgar Hoover, or as I usually like to call people, J. Edgar Hynek, J. Edgar Hoover, approved the use of an Air Force SR-71 Blackbird to retrace and photograph Flight 305's flight path. This was in an attempt to locate the items that Cooper carried with him on his jump. The Blackbird made 5 flights to retrace the route of the plane, but due to poor visibility, the attempts were unsuccessful.
Yeah.
In an experimental recreation of the event, the FBI used the same aircraft and flight configuration, and they pushed a 200-pound sled out of an open air stair. They were able to reproduce the upward motion of the tail section and the brief change in cabin pressure described by the crew members. Mm-hmm. Cooper's landing area was initially placed a few miles southeast of Ariel, Washington. They're not the Ariel, Washington. Near Lake Merwin. The FBI and sheriff's deputy searched large areas of the heavily wooded area on foot and by helicopter. Doctors. They did door-to-door searches of farmhouses in the area and search parties ran. I said that really weird, didn't I? Wow.
Search parties. Party.
Oh, God. There's a party over here. Let's search it. He might be there.
It's an imprint.
He's not here, Bill.
This is just my buddy Darnabas.
Hey, Darnabas, what's your last name? Pooper. Oh, that's really weird. What's your middle name?
Strange.
Billy. Darnabas Billy Pooper. Oh, all right.
Very close.
Hey, have a good day, sir. We're looking for D.B. Cooper. They did door-to-door searches of farmhouses in the area, and search parties ran patrol boats along Lake Merwin and Yale Lake. Neither Cooper or any of his things were found. Mm-hmm. The FBI then coordinated another aerial search along the entire flight path.
This time they approved the use of missiles.
No, they used fixed-winged aircrafts and helicopters for the Oregon Army National Guard equipped with heat-seeking missiles. I don't know any other missiles. So that's the only missile I was going for. No, the only thing they found was broken treetops and several pieces of plastic resembling parachute canopies, but nothing from D.B. Cooper was ever found. Mm-hmm. So they really did do a good search. But then in 1972, shortly after the spring thaw, FBI agents aided by 200 soldiers from Fort Lewis, along with United States Air Force personnel, National Guardsmen, and civilian volunteers, civilian heroes, conducted another thorough ground search. They've been searching the shit out of the ground.
They wanted that bastard.
They're like, we're going to find you, motherfucker.
They didn't.
They did this for 18 days in March and 18 days in April, so twice. A marine salvage firm also used a sub to search the 200-foot depths of Lake Merwin.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
How'd they get a sub in there?
I'm assuming it's one of those non-manned sub or the smaller ones or
man,
something.
I was excited.
I don't think they got old nuclear sub in there. We're going to airlift this motherfucker down. Boop. Boop. I see nothing.
I was really excited.
Or maybe Lake Merwin is attached to somewhere they can secretly get a sub in there.
I'm looking up how big Merwin is. I want to know if they got a sub in there for canon's sake.
A huge fucking sub. Yep. Nuclear one.
How is that spelled?
Lake Merwin
I got
is
it right here.
Merwin.
That's a big lake. You can get a sub in there.
Yeah, is any connection to an ocean?
It's connected to many other things.
Yeah, but our river's big enough for a fucking sub to come in. Let's be honest.
Not the river that feeds it. Not the river that feeds it. I'll give you that one.
I'm sure there were just.
I'm
tiny
still saying
subs.
canonically that there's a military submarine.
Yeah, they had a big nuclear sub in there. They were ready to fucking nuke the motherfucker if they found him.
Yeah,
You're embarrassing us.
Oh, maybe.
Johnny, he's right below us. You know what that means, right? Oh shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You get a sub in that bed, bitch.
Oh yeah. They just airdropped it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, at the end of this extensive search and recovery, and there's no more water in Lake Merwin now. Well, at the end of this extensive search and recovery operation, they uncovered no significant material evidence related to the Cooped case.
Great. Good waste of time.
Cooper case.
Yeah.
I don't know why I autocrapped to Cooped.
Well, because they were
Autocrap.
wow. Took a journey.
And a ride. Autocorrected to Coop. What were you going to say? I interrupted you with autocorrect.
I don't remember.
I wiped your brain. Excellent. It worked. So there's no evidence that Cooper safely landed on the ground. No parachute. Nothing of his belongings. Nothing. Therefore, he must have met his fate on that jump, whether it be in a body of water or a remote, unsearched area of woods. Right?
Maybe.
Well, just 5 days after the hijacking, a Reno newspaper received a letter that was thought to be from Cooper himself.
Mm-hmm.
The letter was postmarked from Oakdale, California, and consisted of letters that were cut and pasted into words from newspaper clippings.
Your classic serial killer.
Dubious.
Your classic serial killer letter.
Yeah. Wasn't there a movie that had that? Riddler from Batman.
Yeah, and I think Zodiac did it too. Because the Zodiac Killer did do that.
The first Riddler. But
No,
yeah.
the Zodiac Killer did not do that. The Zodiac Killer had codes and symbols. Idiot.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember who it was.
Go ahead.
Anyways. The letter, that is, read, "Attention, thanks for hospitality, was in a rut, D.B. Cooper."
Oh, shit. Thanks for hospitality.
Thanks for hospitality. This is Reno, so I'm assuming that was meant for the airport.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Who cares?
That's how I'm going to end every, whenever I leave anybody's house from now on. Thanks for hospitality.
The Reno Evening Gazette published the letters on its front page that evening, which people were not happy about because subsequently, years after, there were many copycat letters. So it makes it very difficult to really figure out who wrote who.
Right.
Who wrote who. No, DB wrote them.
Chicken or the egg?
On December 2nd, 4 days later, another letter arrived with similar cutout wording. Mm-hmm. This one read, "Plan ahead for retirement income. D.B. Cooper." He's giving life advice now. Make sure you plan ahead for that retirement income. Woo!
Hold a plane hostage, he says. Get that retirement bonus.
Jesus Christ. Well, no, if you plan ahead, you won't have to do that, right?
That's true. That's true. He might have been fucked.
Get fucked. Glenn Cook, a Seattle lawyer, is convinced that... I love how I just immediately went into my reading voice. Ha, get fucked. Glenn Cook, a Seattle lawyer, is convinced that the letters to the Reno paper were from Cooper in an attempt to taunt the FBI and that they hold clues to the question everyone wants to be answered. Who is D.B. Cooper? Multiple letters were sent to various locations in the weeks that followed. I think 6 confirmed letters. Mm-hmm. I think the 5th one was declassified by the FBI in 2017, I think it was.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and it basically was him saying, "I knew I wasn't going to be caught. I left no fingerprints. I wore a wig. I had putty on my face, to mask my appearance," and blah, blah, blah. So long story short. But people are using that as a conspiracy that the FBI was in on it and didn't want to be embarrassed by the fact that they couldn't, not in on the hijacking, but that they hid stuff because they didn't want to be embarrassed by the fact that they couldn't find them.
I gotcha.
But I didn't get into that because I was like, well, this is just, nah. Well, on July 8th, 2016, the FBI announced that the active investigation of the D.B. Cooper case was being suspended. They stated the need to focus their investigative resources and manpower on issues of higher and more urgent priority. Mm-hmm. What's more urgent than a 45-year-old fucking cold case that the guy's probably dead at that point?
That literally nobody was injured in.
Right? Literally, yes.
Yeah.
As you said, local field offices would continue to accept any legitimate physical evidence related specifically to the parachutes or to the ransom money that may emerge in the future. The crime remains the only unsolved case of air piracy in commercial aviation history. Mm-hmm. But in 2019, the FBI released a report indicating that roughly 3 hours after Cooper's jump out of the plane, there was a burglary reported at a small grocery store near Hyson, Washington, which is apparently near a location where he jumped. Mm-hmm. Is a near location to where he jumped.
Yeah.
Supposedly jumped. This was a community that was in the calculated drop zone that Northwest Airlines presented to the FBI back in 1972. Mm-hmm. It was noted that the burglar only took survival items like beef jerky and gloves.
Great.
There have been many suspects to whom D.B. Cooper was. Damn near everyone is him, actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
But let's now take a look into a couple of the more credible and could it be ones.
Yes, indeed. As I caught it. As you said.
For once, finally you caught it.
Like, I think there was like 1,000 people that they considered a suspect or something over the whole course of the investigation of Norjack.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
I didn't get into it because you're doing the suspects.
Correct. So I picked 3 of them. We're going to talk about Richard Floyd McCoy first.
All right, Dick McCoy.
Yep.
What's he got?
The top suspect for many from the FBI in the investigations that followed is Richard Floyd McCoy.
I just love the name.
Jr., I think.
I really do. Richard Floyd McCoy.
Got the 3 names. McCoy was arrested 5 months after the Cooper hijacking for a similar hijacking and parachute air escape.
Oh, did he look anything like Cooper?
I'll get there in a fucking second.
Shut your mouth.
He armed himself with a pistol and a hand grenade.
Oh, a hand grenade?
Yeah.
I hope he didn't pull the pin.
And demanded $500,000 cash and 4 parachutes on a trip from Newark to L.A. After an exchange, he ordered the plane to be rerouted to San Francisco before taking off again and heading east as he requested, where he jumped over Utah.
Oh, boy.
He was caught within days and sentenced to 45 years in prison, which he escaped from and died in a police shootout.
This man is a legend.
Is he, though? He
No,
seems like a bad guy.
Well, did he hurt anybody?
Probably.
Police shootout.
Well, he died in a police shootout.
Yeah, he probably did hurt someone. Well, yeah, he just... I'll save that till theories.
Okay, I was really confused. There's a lot of noises and starts to sentences.
I make a lot of noises over here. Don't mind me.
The FBI says that he was ruled out because he didn't match the nearly identical physical descriptions of Cooper provided by 2 flight attendants, but was ruled out for other reasons.
Can I ask real quick?
Yeah.
You said 6 months after?
5
months.
So we're 5 months after.
So we're still in 1970.
71.
Well, didn't it happen in November?
Yes, it did. So we're 72. Good call.
So we're not in the last composite sketch. So they're still going off the first composite sketch. My question is, how close did he look to the last composite sketch?
Well,
anyways, that was just a thought I was thinking.
No.
That's a thought I was thinking.
We're going straight from the source here. The 2 flight attendants.
Okay, all right.
Narrowed
My fault. I thought you said by the description given by them.
No.
Okay, all right. So they actually looked at him.
I'm pretty positive.
They got eyes on prize, and they said, nope, That's not the beautiful soul we saw.
That ain't him. But yeah, so ruled out and was killed. But many people
Debunked.
Many people say he is their top suspect.
Okay.
Another one. This one's a little odd.
Okay.
In 2000, CBS ran a story from about a widow from Florida named Joe Weber.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Now, Joe Weber claimed that on her husband's deathbed, he admitted to her that he was in fact D.B. Cooper. She said that as he was dying, he motioned her to come close.
Come hither.
And said,
So dramatic.
I have a secret to tell you. I am Dan Cooper.
Oh.
And then died.
On my deathbed, I'm going to do something similar to you. Come here. What's that?
I've been an alien this whole time.
The Matrix is real.
It is real. We're in a simulation.
Got to have like a last gasp, too.
And then Deadpool it and be like, nope, I thought that was it. It's still got a little more. Oh, here it is.
Doctor, why is this still beeping? I don't know why he's whispering like he's dying. I mean, we just pulled a fucking tooth, for Christ's sakes.
So yeah, then he fucking died. But the FBI ruled him out in 2007 when DNA confirmed that he was not Barnabas Baines Cooper at all.
Who was he? Wait, how did DNA rule him out when they didn't have DNA because they kept fucking it up?
I don't know, but in 2007...
Good point.
2007, they ruled it out.
I don't believe him anymore.
The final suspect I shall talk about is Robert Rackstraw.
Woo! Let's get to this one.
Robert Rackstraw is a top suspect, again, for many people.
Yes, mine too.
Rackstraw was a decorated helicopter pilot in the Vietnam War. He had extensive parachuting. There it is.
Geronimo!
Credence players playing. CR.
Yes.
Yep. He had an extensive parachuting experience and was brought into the case as a suspect when two investigators from California noted that he had a resemblance to the sketch of Cooper while investigating him for another crime, which I'm pretty sure he murdered his stepfather.
Oh, okay. Well, that I don't condone that action.
No, he was discharged from the military for disobeying orders and I believe
killing his stepfather.
No, that was after, and for I believe taking helicopter joyrides, which he was a helicopter pilot, so he would just take them out without.
I would too, wouldn't you?
Probably if I signed up for the 2 hours of free time, then yes, I would.
Yes, and I would just bang out Metallica or something. Boom, bum, 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 bum. That's fucking like Rob Zombie. Whatever.
Dig through the ditches and burn.
Fuck. Whatever. I'm not a big rock guy.
I am.
I know you are.
Supposedly.
But what am I?
The letters that were sent out to the various news outlets, you said.
Yes.
Supposedly following the hijacking, some investigators claimed to have decoded hidden messages in them, mentioning Rackstraw's name and military rank specifically.
But that could be one of those scenarios where you can get hidden message in basically anything if you look hard enough for it.
Yeah, what I would like to actually
Yes. Don't
knock on things here.
I like to knock on things.
I was about to say that I would like to see how they explain this because I couldn't find it. But then I remembered, oh yeah, they just came out with a documentary on Netflix about D.B. Cooper, about this the guy who came up with this theory about decoding messages. So I might have to check that out to see what kind of messages they got out of it.
It really is one of those scenarios that you can almost find a message. You can go through our notes and find a message that I'm D.B. Cooper, I bet.
Right. Probably.
Could be.
But
maybe.
He was dismissed as Cooper for a few different reasons.
Okay.
One being that he was 28 at the time of the hijacking, whereas Cooper was described to be in his 40s.
Okay.
Another was that the flight attendant also did not see the resemblance in Rackstraw with Cooper, as you said. But knowing from that first note, if he said he put shit on his face, you never know.
There was the fifth note, but yes, that was released.
That's what I meant, yeah.
If he put putty on his face, then he could make himself look older, right?
Yeah.
Talented enough. He had the experience with the parachuting. All that. We're getting into final thoughts territory, but...
While we're thinking about it, what are some of your theories?
We've presented the facts. It's time now to examine the evidence and give our theories. So pull up a chair for our final thoughts. Science.
Science. So, let's talk about some theories and our final thoughts on what these theories' credibility is and who we think he was.
So, I didn't do any research on theories. I left that to my compatriot over there.
I can talk about my theories first.
No. I'm saying, so I'm going to give you one theory I have. Rakshaw.
Okay.
I think he's Rakshaw. I like the theory that he was in Vietnam. He was an air pilot. He knew how to parachute with the Army parachutes that he was given.
Yeah.
Not steering. So, and he, if I remember correctly, Rakshaw jumped out of the back of plane or something like that.
Yeah, he had
like similar.
Experience.
I mean, like similar to what they had with the 727.
There was another thing that about the parachutes is that in the investigation they flipped back and forth multiple times on whether they thought that he was either an experienced parachutist or he was inexperienced at parachuting. And this also made them rule out or discount suspects depending on what way they thought at the time.
So
that's another weird thing.
It's a great way to investigate.
Right?
It's like make up your mind and go with that theory.
Because they were like, well, he had to have been experienced to know that the one was a dummy chute.
Right.
Then they were like, well, he took it, though, so maybe he didn't know. But he jumped out in the middle of the night in a storm, so he had to have been inexperienced to have done that. But he had to have been experienced to be able to survive that. It's like, just take that out of account. Make it credible, make it don't credible. You know what I'm saying?
The way I see that him taking the dummy parachute was immediately when I saw that, I was like, yeah, he packed it with the fucking money so I could just
But the chute wasn't left behind, though.
I know. I don't know where the fuck his chute was. So.
He's not going to do it midair.
Just grabbing out of the sky. Yeah. Shit, I really should have thought about this before, Jim. Jim?
The fuck are you? I do this every Tuesday.
Good luck, sir. Yeah, like a sugar bear. That guy was great. Who are you? Bob Lazar. Who the fuck is Bob Lazar?
He's back.
Son of a bitch.
He's got a cool anti-gravity parachute.
That's right. He actually has just a jetpack. Fueled by element 115.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, sorry, dude. Fuck the theory.
That's all right. I don't remember where I was going. The parachutes. The parachute. That is a good point. Nobody found the parachute. So, I don't know who... Well, nobody knows who the fuck he was.
Correct.
I would say out of the suspects you gave and all the ones I saw would be Rakshaw's my favorite.
Yeah.
As for after he jumped, I think he survived and buried the evidence somewhere in the woods. I saw a theory that he rendezvoused with someone in the area. They had a planned area where him to land, and he was about 1,500 feet off the area. He did a good job. Got in the truck. They drove to a lake. They took, there's a plane circling too. Okay. So in the truck, he gave $150,000 of the dollars to the person in the truck. They drove off. The person in the plane landed, picked him up. He took the remaining $50,000, went to a lake, dumped it so that they hopefully would find it, and then would rule him out as dead. Kind of like a way to get away with it. Then it never happened, and there was a theory that he then took the money and then buried it in the sand in 1980s to, have it discovered there.
You're pretty
blah,
smart
blah, blah.
if you did something like that.
Because I don't really understand how literally everything disappeared. There should be a trace of something.
Something, but he also...
But if it was buried...
There's not many factors in this case of, like, evidence. Sorry, I hit that. There's not many things like he had a tie. He left that.
Yeah.
But other than that is what he had his clothes that he had on.
Parachutes.
He had 2 parachutes. He had a bag of money and his briefcase.
That's right. He did take the briefcase.
Yeah. Like, that's pretty much it. They never found the briefcase.
So
it's kind of be
that
awkward.
Is interesting.
It'd be kind of awkward to skydive down with a briefcase in your hand.
Hey, that's dedication, motherfucker.
Maybe he used it as like a rudder.
Yeah. I don't know why the briefcase is way up
I
here.
don't know either.
It has its own parachute.
I guess so.
It's not a bomb, actually. The little end just pops out and it's just a parachute.
That's an interesting thing. Maybe there's a little motor built into it so that when he's parachuting, he can.
He sits on it.
Oh, shit just got even cooler.
Yeah. He actually works for the Ministry of Magic.
This wide open.
Ministry of Magic.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
Fuck yeah.
So that's. I have my own theory, but I want to hear what you researched.
Okay, so I found this really cool theory on Reddit, and then I will tell you my theory.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm going to give you guys a quick read of this because I think this is pretty fascinating. This comes to us from Reddit user Deleted. They are no longer on here anymore.
No, that's actually just their name. Deleted.
Maybe, possibly.
It's Bob Lazar.
All right, so I'm going to read what they said. This hinges on some or all of the aircrew being responsible for the hijacking. They got a friend to buy a ticket under the name of Dan Cooper and then a second ticket in their own name. This friend boarded and then pretended to hijack the plane by threatening the stewardess who was in on the plot. Once the money was on board, the person identified as DB Cooper got off the plane in Seattle with the rest of the passengers and the money. The plane took off, flew until it was dark, and then the 4 remaining crew opened the door, tossed out the parachutes and a small amount of money, expecting it to be found as evidence he jumped and then landed. And everyone spends 50 years looking for someone who never really existed at all and wasn't even on the plane when they were supposed to have jumped. The crew, who had almost all the interaction with him, gives a false description. He refused to talk to anyone apart from the aircrew. The blinds were closed on the ground so no one could see in. None of the other passengers were even aware of the plane being hijacked, and so didn't pay any attention to him during the flight. He could easily have taken off his sunglasses in disguise and no one would recognize him as he got off with everyone else. And the authorities would have never checked bags because the aircrew said he was still on board. He was on the flight in his own name and there'd be no extra person versus the passenger list because there was also an extra seat next to him that was open. The crew could have easily faked the extra person while doing the manifest to hide the fact that the plane was one person short when it took off. The aircrew would have known all the information about how to fly low and slow, open the back door, and so on, but wouldn't have been expert parachutists, which explains why the FBI think he was a pilot but not an expert parachutist. It's also possible that they threw all the money out expecting to be able to recover it, but never found it, which is why it was never spent. That's just a little side note from the guy at the end. So that's one theory.
Interesting.
It's
Very
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That he might not have existed at all. And it was an inside job.
Yeah. That would also kind of
If you just
explain
make up
the
a fake
tie,
person, yeah,
with all the metal scraps on it.
Who knows?
I mean, they didn't work in metal.
No.
It fits a lot of the story, but also it doesn't fit other portions of the story. So it's
As
just
does
like
every
everything.
theory.
Yep.
So I have 2 theories in my head.
Yes.
My first theory is that the one I'd like to believe, which may sound horrible of me, but I'd like it if he made it to the ground safely. And he
just got away with it because he didn't hurt anybody.
He didn't hurt anybody. He lived out his days.
He stuck it to the man.
He spent that money. He just was a good dude. I like to think of him as the DB Cooper portrayed in Without a Paddle. Is that he ended up surviving and just lived as a hermit in the woods. Yeah, dude, I love that movie.
Burt Reynolds, I think his name was, right? I think his name was. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
Just lived in a cabin in the woods. And, yeah, I like that. The other theory is that this one's a little more comedic and dark. But he had one parachute for the money and one parachute for himself. And he opened both chutes at the same time, only to watch the money float up above him as he had the training chute and plummeted.
Son of a bitch. But there would be a body.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I know.
I don't think any of those suspects are him. I don't think. I think that he got away.
Well, he still got away, even if the suspect was him.
I misspoke. I think that he was unknown.
Okay.
They don't know who he is, whether because he did such a fantastic job on this crime, it was a perfect crime that he just got away with it completely, or the fact that he might have died. But either way, I don't think it was any of those suspects.
I do like that last,
I think he's
the
an
Reddit
unknown.
theory.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
It is.
I don't have enough time and manpower to think about that right now, but manpower, what? But intriguing. I was running off the theory that it was an inside job as well, but I was going with that he didn't leave the plane, that he worked for, was it Boeing, right? No, Northwest Orient.
Yes.
Maybe he was manufacturing or maybe he was a higher up, whatever. And that he was working with the stewardess.
Mm-hmm.
And when everything went down, he opened the back of the plane. The pilots were not in on it. He opened the back of the plane, made it seem like he jumped out, and then he took his stuff and went to like a secret compartment or some shit that only
Secret.
well, only like I don't
Only
know.
someone who worked on it.
I really tried to find something to support this theory. That's why I don't think it actually happened anymore.
Oh, great.
I was trying to look for specs on the plane, and then I was like, well, this has got to look weird in my Google history. So I quickly abandoned that. I was like, I don't need them on me. I'm not.
Jesus Christ.
Then I said 1970s 727 Boeing airplane. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to abandon this theory, and I'm just going to say it, but there's no facts to support it. So I'm going to run with the Reddit theory. I like that theory a lot.
Dope.
Did you have your own theory, you said?
I did. I said that.
Okay, all right. My bad. I wasn't listening to you. Fuck you.
I guess so.
No, joking. The curious case of D.B. Cooper is one that is a masterclass on how to get away with a crime. Whoever he was, whether it be a former Vietnam vet that in his anger with a dishonorable discharge decided to stick it to the man
And kill his stepfather.
and kill his stepfather, or that he is just an extremely intelligent or lucky man, or that he didn't exist at all. And it was all an inside job with the 4 crewmen. The fact remains that he or they got away with one of the most famous heists in U.S. history. And that's our theory, and we're sticking to it.
Yes, we are.
Hit him with that outro, maestro. What? Hit him with the outro, maestro.
Well, ladies, gentlemen, squatches, and
Possibly squatches.
mystery unknown hijackers. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode. If you would like to reach out to us and let us know your thoughts and opinions, you can do so by finding us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on our glorious YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button for auto downloads to listen first thing every Monday morning, because you know you need our sweet, sweet voices in your ear holes on your morning drive.
That's right. We soothe your ride from the road rage.
Yeah, I still have it. Thank you all. Thank you all, and to all of our Patreon members
Everyone.
that help keep this podcast a reality. We are grateful for your continued support. If you haven't yet become a member and would like to support us, head to our Patreon, or if you're feeling a little classy, check out our merch selection on our website to visually show your support to your friends and family.
Yes, sir.
Drop us a 5-star rating and write us a review. Tell us what you love and how you are enjoying the show. And on that note, be sure to check out our socials today. Monday the 10th. Is it
11th, 12th.
Monday the something? I just closed out the calendar.
Monday the 12th.
Monday the 12th. Be sure to check it out today, so we can announce the giveaway for our 2 reviewers who gave us a glorious review that we've chosen at this future time.
We're a couple weeks away.
In a couple weeks.
Wedding's almost here.
We'll announce it. Don't speak words like this to me. Share us on your socials and tell your cryptid-loving friends and family about us. Subscribe, hit the bell, and like the videos on YouTube. Bing! This all helps us to grow and bring you even more great content for you to enjoy.
Absolutely.
Join us next Monday for our next incredible episode. You may write us, rate us, review us. But remember to always stay curious, be vigilant, and don't touch my Sasquatch.
He's actually D.B. Cooper. Peace.
I knew it! See ya!
back on, Garth. I'm ready.
16, 17, 18.
There we go. We got our counts. Got our counts in. All right. Good. It was a little test mic. Mic test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Don't touch my Sasquatch.
All right, don't eat. You're good.
I know I'm good. I fucking know I'm good. But am I great? Transition into Lennon suspects. We're going to cut that. Why did I read that?
Got it. I'll cut it.
Or I guess that's getting cut. Oh, well, what are my theories? I don't know. Push the button.
All right.
The curious case of D.B. Cooper is one of the... La 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 la.
Barnabas Baines Cooper.
Oh, good Lord.
Lord Day. 1, 2, 3. Ow! I think that was it.
I'm guessing this is all cut, which is okay because it gets cut on the video too.
Oh, sorry, it didn't
Nope.
come.
No, I thought it was a sneeze, so I was like, I'll just stop
It
talking.
was supposed to be. Theories is a final thought.
Oh, I thought you still had more to say. So
No. That was
all right.
It was determined that I was going to cut that anyway.
I'm going to bed for a while.